Good morning and welcome to the EZFX Trading Room broadcast for Monday, September 19th, 2016. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for a review of our watch list that we've last updated on Thursday last week, and we'll be adding any new trades that we've opened since. I'll also be looking at any new trade ideas I have to share with you that I haven't thus far, and getting into the charts and explaining why I like those opportunities or why I like those trades. If you're watching live and you have questions, there's a chat room on this page. You can post your questions, and at the end of the broadcast, I will answer everyone's questions live. If you're watching the recording, we have a community feature you can access from the community menu on the website. You can find me in the members list. I'm EZFX, and you can send me a private message, or alternatively, you can join the trading room group. If you go to the community groups item on the menu, then you can join the trading room group and post there. You can post charts, you can post trade ideas, you can post questions, and either myself or another member of the EZFX community will be happy to interact with you and answer your questions. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. I want to start by reviewing the watch list from last week. We had a lot of closed trades. I won't go through those, but we did have several things that stopped out. I think we're going to recover from this nicely. I'm not too worried because we controlled the drawdown with position sizing with hard stops, and it just didn't have a serious impact on our growth rate overall. Plus, we got a lot of cool things setting up this week that look promising. So let's look at our new and open trades. We had a few. We had a dollar CAD sell was new, Euro Aussie sell was new, dollar peso sell was new, Euro Newsy sell was new, Aussie dollar buy was open, and Newsy dollar buy was open. So let's jump over to the charts. Let's check these and see what else we're looking at right now and update our list. So we've actually started looking at several things. And I opened several trades by signals. If you haven't received the signals, let me know, but I did send out emails in the last several hours with a lot of setups. We're still looking at the dollar peso sell. This never really did set up for us. It kept making new highs. It never gave a signal that I was either prepared for to get into, either timing wise, or it just didn't look convincing to me. So at this point, we have a new sell bubble. We have a class A supply zone. We have a redrawn trend line. If I could get a candle close, a strong candle close below this line, I would sell this. I would try. There is one issue, and that's that the size of the required stop loss is potentially over 300 pips. So if we did trade it, the trade size would be very small using our current stop loss rules. It is possible that price will continue to evolve, maybe give us a new high and a tighter entry space when it does finally give us a signal. And that would be great if we could get even under 200 pips, even under 200 pip stop for this pair. I would love, because it's very consistent. It tends to move far. It can deliver big profits when you can get into it successfully. But right now, as of this moment, the dollar peso is still a new trade, but I'm even call it a watching trade. I'm just going to move it back to the watch list. But we are definitely watching this, and I put it on my report on Sunday as well, so you probably saw that. CAD yen buy. This is a kind of a new one. This pair has just been trending, you know, and kind of consolidating as it goes, getting narrower and narrower bands of motion of price action. It's in this big thick zone that was created. I think it's the Brexit zone, or it's actually after Brexit, but there's a big thick demand zone here. It's not really useful, but what is useful is our trend line and this new divergence here. So if I got a TMA color change, close above this trend line with a buy candle, and I've kind of had a sell bubble back here. I mean a buy bubble back here. I also had a sell bubble here, but not any recent bubbles. But if I just had that, I'd give it a shot. We have a nice weekly pivot up here. That'd be a great target, and then further on we could use fibs for our target. This may also trend further, but I drew the trend line because, you know, because it's moving south, because it's dropping. our next opportunity is going to be in the buy direction. So I'm just getting ready for that. And like I said, if on a good entry, we could target this weekly pivot and maybe the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level, although it's a little too early to say. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this on my chart as something we're watching. CAD yen buy. Keep an eye on that this week. Dollar CAD, this fired off a second time. We had a trade last week that stopped out. It's a new week, so this is a new trade. This isn't really a 1-2 punch retrade. All it is kind of the second trade on the same setup, so you could think about it that way. We do have permission under our rules if this did stop out to trade it one more time this in a given week. So everything kind of resets on Monday, and this is now open. Dollar CAD sell is open. Next we have New Zealand yen. This is actually open. It broke a trend line. So we had a class A demand zone down here. We've had price moving lower, but we've had it making higher highs, slightly higher highs, higher lows, I'm sorry, excuse me. If you compare these three lows, they're moving slightly higher, and then we broke through this trend line here. So is it definitive? Well, maybe not necessarily. I mean, you could have also drawn a trend line here. Trend lines can be very subjective. But I do think based on the movement of the other Aussie and Newsy pairs, that this pair is getting ready to be on the move. We could have some action on the yen this week. There's a BOJ press conference where they could say something exciting that could move yen pairs to yen weakness. And so I'm kind of getting ready for all this, and I see this as maybe an early signal on those moves that may be happening later in the week. I targeted the Fibonacci retracement on this recent trend move from here to here. This is our trade space. And going for the 50% and the 78.6% retracement level. So this isn't a huge trade. I think we got in, it was required stop was maybe 48. First target is 53. Final target at 110. It's not huge, but it is potentially profitable. And because the stop is small, you can trade a larger size. So, you know, you're risking 1% for probably, 3-4% if it does get to its final profit target. Anyway, this trade is now open. I'm going to add this to the list. Let's look at the Aussie yen. This is also open. We were watching this last week, and we were seeing things start to happen. We had a Class A demand zone down here. We had a trend line break that kind of moved sideways and then dropped and made a new low. It actually stopped us out on an earlier attempt. And then it started moving sideways again, and we got a TMA color change on Sunday. So I drew this trend line last week over these candles here, and when that broke, I decided to go ahead and buy it. Because I waited, I didn't get in down here. I wanted more confirmation. That means the stop loss is a little larger. It's about an 82 pip stop. And so I needed at least 82 for the first target. The monthly pivot, this doesn't give it to us. So I used the weekly pivot above for 105. Final profit target used the fibs for 170. So this Aussie yen buy trade is now open. Aussie dollar next. This actually we opened this last week, and this is moving on ahead at a nice clip. You can see it it broke through the initial trend line for entry here, then a second one I drew to kind of just let me know when it was starting to move again after it retraced down a bit towards the stop. And then it broke a third trend line here, and it's moved higher, made higher highs. Our initial profit target is the monthly pivot. I think that's fairly easy for this pair to reach. Monthly pivot at 0.7592, and the final profit target is the 78.6% Fibonacci retracement level. So that is still open. That's a signal trade. Also, all these others are also signal trades. I've sent signals on these, so I'm just going to mark them with 2 asterisks, that's my convention to let us know the difference between trades that I've sent signals on and trades that we've talked about, but I haven't sent signals out on. Busy dollar. This I also went ahead and got into last week. It's still open. It looked like it might stop out. It's moved higher on the open, and we haven't made a higher high yet, but it seems like it wants to go higher. Initial profit target at the weekly pivot is 0.7367. That's last week's weekly pivot. Final profit target again at this Fibonacci 78.6% retracement level on the trade space. It starts at this Class A supply zone here down to the recent low. So Euro Newsy, this is has moved along very well. I believe I had this, yeah, this opened up, so this is now open. I did send a signal on this. This is a signal trade officially. And it's dropped nicely. It's dropped through 2 trend lines that I drew. It hit the initial profit targets. The stop has been moved to break even. We've now taken partial profit and risk is no longer an issue. And we're going for the final profit target at the Fibonacci 78.6% retracement level of the trade space. It starts from this Class A demand zone down here to the bottom of the supply zone above, where it made its high before the drop. And that's looking real good right now. Euro Aussie, this is the same thing basically, but with the Euro Aussie. This is also moving well. The stop is now at break even. We took initial profit target at the weekly pivot at 1.4815. That was our initial profit target, and we're now going for the final target at the monthly pivot at 1.4705. So Euro Aussie is now open. Euro Pound, this is one I'm keeping an eye on. It's still trending higher. It did recently make a Class A supply zone and a sell bubble. I just drew this trend line under price to give us something to look at so that when everything comes together, we'll be ready to go ahead and attempt to sell trade on this. I have no idea if this is going to happen this week or not. The pound has really got slammed last week, and it may continue to suffer this week. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add this to our watch list, Euro Pound sell. And we'll be ready to take it when it happens. Pound Aussie buy. The pound has really dropped against the Aussie and also the Newsy. It's creating a new Class A signal in this demand zone below on both pairs. I drew a trend line above the wicks here just to kind of be ready to catch the timing when it happens. It's creating a huge sell buy bubble as it's doing this on both of these pairs. I need to mark it on here. I haven't done it yet. So my own inclination is that trends tend to go a lot further and longer than we think they will. So I have a feeling this is going to go lower, that it's not going to reverse here in range, but that it's actually going to fall further. So I'm not ready to trade this yet, but I am ready to draw a trend line because all the things that we look for in a trade attempt are setting up, and I'm going to be ready for that. So these at this point, they're not new trades. They're not things that we're imminently ready to get in, but they are things we're going to start watching very closely so that we can catch those opportunities when they happen. There's a lot of volatility on these pound pairs. We've been able to make a lot of nice profit on the post-Brexit volatility on these big swings, and so I want to be there for the next one too, and I want you to be there too, so we can make this money together. So pound Aussie buy, pound Newsy buy, those both go on our watching list. And at this point, that's about it. I'm not really looking at anything else. I will probably want to start thinking about a sell trade on the Aussie Swiss, but not yet. It still hasn't hit the final profit target. This we actually got stopped out on twice last week, and then it finally started moving towards the profit target, which is always irritating, but sometimes happens. So at least we followed our rules. That's the most important thing, instead of worrying about trades that we didn't quite catch. And other than that, I'm not really looking at anything in particular. There's lots of stuff that's going to be setting up, and I'll have updates for you when it does. But those were the most clear setups on Sunday. Those are basically my focus for this trading week, and I'll keep updating as those things evolve and give us additional signals that we need to take action on them. So that's all the updates I have for today. I'm going to jump over to the trading room real quick just to make sure if there's anybody live and they've asked a question that we can answer that live. And today, no. Today I'm all on my own. So if you have a question, you can, as I said previously, go to the community, go to the members, find me on EZFX, send me a private message, go to the groups, join the trading room group, and post a question there. Or you can always send me an email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. And I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you have a good trading week. I'll have more updates for you as they appear, and we'll be executing on the trading plan that I described in the report yesterday and in our trading room here on this broadcast today. Take care, and we'll see you in tomorrow's broadcast. Bye-bye.